tough to meet and to work with here. But you talk about royalty, you know what? She's just a downright wonderful person. Please welcome Miss Priscilla Presley.
Thank you so much. Thank you. But are you singing?
I can't.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. There's a lot of you here. Oh my goodness. Thank you.
How cool is that, right? So I asked her if she would talk a little bit with me about the 1950s, and she said, I wasn't practically even born then. What are you talking about? But I thought it would be cool because, you know, there's a young man known as the king of rock and roll. And you're talking about the 1955, 56, 57 Sun records, all that stuff that was happening then. And the gentleman in the center of it all was Elvis Aaron Presley, right? So I thought it would be cool to invite you here, and thank you for accepting my invitation. We love you very much.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, there's so many questions that we have, but you know, I really would like to focus on the beginning of that because Elvis was a star when you first met him. Obviously, he was out there. And did your parents, did you watch him on TV all the time? Were they?
No, I wasn't allowed to watch him. My mother and father were absolutely, literally, they couldn't understand him, and they said, so what I would do, or what I did, was I was peeking between the crack of the door and watching Elvis, and my father came in, and I had to quickly pretend that I was doing something in the room, and then when he left, I went back out, and I'm watching him, and I'm going, oh my God, he's gorgeous. Who is this guy? And but my mother and father did not want me to watch it.
But then the table turned a little bit. Tell us how you met Elvis.
My father was stationed in Germany, Wiesbaden, Germany, and we had just gotten over there actually about maybe 3 weeks, and I was sitting in the Eagles Club. The Eagles Club is off base, and it was where a lot of the military families would go to have lunch or have dinner, and I was there doing homework, and this guy comes over to me and he said, you know, I see you here every day and I notice that you have tears in your eyes. And he said, are you okay? And I said, I'm okay. I just miss all my friends. I don't have any friends here. I just got here. So he said, really? He said, well, do you like Elvis Presley? And I said, yeah. Yes. And he says, well, my wife and I go every Saturday, and would you like to meet him? And I said, I don't think my parents would let me. And he goes, so how about if I go to your parents, because I know they come here frequently, and I can tell him, tell them that my wife and I would love to bring you over to Elvis's house that's off base, and so let's see what they say. Well, I told my parents, that this guy knows Elvis Presley, and my mother and father are going, don't care, don't know who he is, don't want to know who he is, but just know what he does. Well, anyway, we go to the Eagles Club and have lunch, and Curry was his name, had come to my parents, and he said, your daughter is here. I see she's very sad, and she's missing her friends. And I'd like to take her, just to bring, maybe a little life into her and meet Elvis. My mother and father talked it over, and they said, okay. And that was actually the beginning. He took me to meet Elvis, and I was, I spoke English, obviously, and he was off base, so there was really no one off base speaking English. It was all German. So he was glad to have someone who could speak English. So that's how we started talking, and he invited me to come over the next Saturday. My parents let me, but on the third time he asked me, my father said, no, absolutely not. You are not going. And I told Elvis, and Elvis said, well, what if I bring my father over? And maybe we can let him know, you know, that my dad also goes, and, you know, Elvis plays the piano, and, you know, he just loves having company because he's very lonesome there, and doesn't really have any friends. So my parents said, okay, and that was the beginning, actually, like I said, of me going there every week. And Elvis and his father did come over. Elvis enjoyed talking to my dad. They talked military, and they became actually friends. And then it was much easier, you know, to go and visit him. And then the big one was, though, when he had called and asked that summertime if I could come to LA. And that was like, uh-oh, I don't think that's gonna happen. But Vernon Presley had talked to my father and my mother and said that, you know, that don't worry, you know, I live there too with Elvis, and Elvis, you know, really loved my company and the fact that I was mature for my age, and that's how it really all began. So the rest is history.
So, very great, amazing history. But I gotta think, did your friends find out about it? Was it hush-hush? Was it the talk of the school?
No, I didn't tell anyone at school. I never told any kids that I went to that I was seeing Elvis. They didn't find out until Elvis left Germany and was coming back to the States. And of course, the paparazzi, the cameramen were all there. And the next day it was in the paper, and it showed me saying goodbye to Elvis and the two of us together, and that was in the paper, so that's when they found out. But no one said anything. The teacher did not say one thing at all. She was not an Elvis fan at all, so she never, I found that out quick. I just had a couple of kids, you know, that I knew that, you know, came over to me and said they never knew. Why didn't I tell